My little alopecia spot. It was traumatic alopecia, I think what they call it, from trauma. All right. We're going to dive right in because Alan is going to race to our son's baseball game. So let's just dive in and people can join us as we go. Linda's first. Hey, Linda, we're going to just dive right in rather than wait for everybody to join, I think. Because Alan's on a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, we're not going to time for that one. We're going to have to wait.
Thank y'all for being here. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I had a very busy weekend. I was slap give out Sunday night.
Hello, everybody.
Which is why I didn't sit up to watch all the Oscars and I missed all the drama, but we all got to see it play out today, didn't we?
We're going to have to do a collective hello, everybody, because we're going to get going here.
Yeah.
Sound check.
Alan's got to run. Test 1, 2, test.
Richard Aiken. Dick Aiken, please pick up the red courtesy phone. Dick Aiken, please pick up the red courtesy phone. Dick Aiken.
Welcome to A Sandwich and Some Lovin' podcast. I'm Kellie Rasberry Evans, along with my husband and podcast co-host, Alan Evans.
Hey, Trey! In the house.
All right. A new way of delivery. We all hope he changes that soon. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to everybody suffering from allergies. This is the season. I don't know where you live, how bad it is where you live, but in Texas, it is pretty bad. I think it's the cedar here, right, Alan? Isn't that what people struggle with?
I don't know.
Cedar?
Everything's blooming, though. I know the Bradford pear is blooming. The red bud is blooming.
It's bad, y'all. I had a double antihistamine yesterday and it knocked me on my butt, but just eyes pouring. I mean, like flooding tears and I just burning, and it was just really bad. Not the sneezing and stuff though, just the pouring water out of my eyes. It was really strange.
So this is the temporary ailment list. This isn't
the allergies, but so many people.
No, that's seasonal. That's seasonal. That's not a permanent ailment.
Well, it's chronic, I would imagine, right? Seasonal, chronic, maybe the same. I don't know. Our dog is suffering.
Well, if water is pouring from your eyes, it's chronic.
It's bad.
Right?
And little Larry, our mutt, our rescue, who has if there is a skin condition known to dogs, he's got most of them. All this money we've paid for shots that cured my previous dog, George, who had allergies.
Amen.
Man, I've given him Epsom salt baths. Today I gave him another anti-itch dandruff bath, whatever.
Nothing.
The shots, he's got another shot due this Wednesday. It's this last one. He's on Apoquel. He's on everything. He's still over there licking and chewing all through the night. Smacking.
Licking his rear end.
Scooting across the floor. That dog is in constant misery, but I love him. And I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out till his dying day or mine.
Because we've been trying to figure it out since October of 2018.
Till his dying day or mine.
If we haven't figured it out by now, we're not going to figure it out.
It's just, I just think he would be a more pleasant dog for everyone else besides me. He's already a pleasant dog for me. And he loves you too. When you show him the least bit of affection, he takes that sticky tongue and sticks it all over your face.
It's like a gecko.
It really is.
When he licks you, it's like a gecko.
It's the stickiest tongue
it's
dog I've ever.
Yeah.
And he sweats.
Yeah.
It's like belly sweat. I don't know what's wrong with this dog, but he was meant for me. And I love Larry.
I mean, Larry's part of the family, so I have to love him.
You have to.
Right.
And I love you.
Well,
because you're part of the family and I have to.
Thank you.
I'm kidding.
Thank you.
Well, I did have a very busy weekend and double antihistamine yesterday on Sunday. We're recording this on Monday, obviously. And so I watched some of the Oscars, not all of the Oscars. So guess what I missed? I missed the opening act, Beyonce out there doing her thing on the tennis court in Compton.
I didn't watch it.
King Richard was filmed. No, you don't ever watch.
I didn't watch it.
I had to watch because I'm on the Kid Craddock show and we need to talk about these things. But about 9:00, I told Alan, I can't hold my eyes open. I've got to go to bed. And of course, I go to work this morning and I walk in and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Chris Rock. Will Smith. I'm like, what? I didn't even have any clue what had happened until I got to work this morning. And you didn't either until this morning when you turned on the news,
No,
right?
I knew last night.
Oh, you knew last night before you came to bed? Because Alan sits up longer than me.
I wasn't watching, but on social media, of course, it
blew up.
It starts blowing up. Yeah.
So I guess we need to talk about that, our opinions on it, if people care. Do you want to set it up or do you want me to set it up?
A lot of opinions online, that's for sure. A lot of people going back and forth. Are you team Will Smith or team Chris Rock?
Well, do you want me to set up what happened real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Set up. So Chris Rock, apparently there's been some bad blood between Will Smith and Chris a while back, because a few years ago, Jada Pinkett Smith boycotted the Oscars, saying, the hashtag Oscars so white, because there weren't enough Black nominees and winners. And Chris Rock was hosting, I believe, that year, and he made a joke about her. Why is she boycotting? Because she wasn't even invited in the first place. So apparently that stuck in Will and Jada's craw. So anyway, last night, Chris Rock is up there to give the Oscar for Best Documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And he went off script because, he's a stand-up comedian. They see something in the crowd on any stand-up night. They just point out things in the crowd. So he saw Jada and Will sitting there, and Jada has shaved her head because she revealed a couple of years ago she's dealing with alopecia, which is a condition that causes your hair to fall out.
Mm-hmm.
So she got frustrated and shaved her head. Did Chris know this? I don't know. But he said, hey, Jada, basically I'm paraphrasing, love you, Jada. Can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. G.I. Jane, you remember Demi Moore shaved her head.
Yep.
This is what was it? 1997 movie or something? It's so old.
He was making a reference to her bald shaved
right.
head.
This is a reference that's 30 years old or something. It's a really old movie. Anyway.
But all the doofuses in the audience knew because they're all actors.
Yeah. So Will Smith laughed at first.
Yeah, he was laughing.
And Jada rolled her eyes, and they cut to Chris, and apparently Jada must have said something, or Will looked at her and saw that it hit her the wrong way. And he goes marching up on stage. And at first everybody's thinking
they're going to do a bit. Yeah.
Because Chris is even kind of laughing, and maybe Chris is thinking, oh, Will's going to take this next level. He's going to go with the joke. Instead, Will hauls off and smacks him, open hand slap across the face, shocks Chris, shocks the audience. Did you see Nicole Kidman's face?
Literally waved his pimp hand strong.
Really? And then marched back to his seat while Chris kind of, I think, is trying to make light of it and says, Will Smith just slapped the S out of me. And then Will from
I think it was the F out of me.
No, he said the S word. He said the S.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Oh, and Will Smith said the
Will
F word.
Smith then said, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth.
You got to change your voice.
And everybody knows what I'm talking about. And Chris Rock's like, man, it was a dumb G.I. Jane joke. He said, keep my wife's name out of your blanking mouth. You could have heard a pin drop. It was so awkward. And he kind of recovered. He said, well, this is going to be the greatest night in TV history, the greatest moment in TV history. But that was serious, y'all. That was not a joke. A lot of people thought that was staged. Mm-hmm. They went to commercial break. And this is what was going on, what I've read today. So Denzel Washington, Bradley Cooper, Tyler Perry, they all come up to comfort Will, calm him down. This is when the devil tries to get you when you're on top. Mm-hmm. Did anybody go backstage and check on Chris Rock?
I don't know.
They said that they immediately asked Chris if he wanted to press charges, and he said no. Mm-hmm. He may change his mind. I don't know. And they were talking about removing Will from the audience, but they had to have a consensus on that. And I guess they didn't have enough time to get a consensus. They were going to remove him from the building. But then he went on to win the Oscar for Best Actor, King Richard, and gets up there tearful, apologizes to the Academy, saying, didn't apologize to Chris, but says, like they said, King Richard was, Richard, Serena Williams, Venus Williams' dad, was crazy when what he did for his family. He's like, that's what I was doing for my family. But it's been real interesting to see the reactions on social media. A lot of people have his back for that.
Have Will Smith's back?
Yes. A lot of people saying, you don't disrespect somebody's wife. I'm like, but then a lot of the stand-up comedians have Chris Rock's back. They're like, you cannot make this okay. You can't, because comedians offend. That's part there. Somebody's always the butt of
Well,
a joke.
they used to.
Well, typically someone is the butt of a joke. You can't just make it open season for people to get mad and come up and punch a comedian in the face. This is really bad.
I'm with Chris Rock. I think it's really bad for him to go up there and do that. This is a guy who he got upset. I guess he just snapped because somebody made a joke about his wife's medical condition. Number one,
knowingly or unknowingly.
Number one, they are public figures, and people say all kinds of nasty things.
And he addressed that.
About public figures.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's part of being a public figure is people say things a lot of times that you don't agree with. And you can just brush it all off, or you can get really spun up about it. Number two, they are on the record. His wife is on the record on a podcast in a public forum saying that they have an open relationship, and they have for years, and that she sleeps with other men.
Well, I think she was about to get busted, and so she really had no choice other than to come forward because one of her son's friends, her son Jaden's friends that she was sleeping with, was coming out with the story. So I think she just had to come forward because she was about to be exposed.
Okay, so here's a guy who his wife sleeps with other dudes,
and implying that he would sleep around as well if it's an open marriage.
But he's getting upset about a comedian making a joke. Now, I can, if I was telling Kellie, if I were in that position and someone was really, giving Kellie a hard time about something that she couldn't control, I'd probably be really upset about it. But I don't know that I would get up on a national program and go slap the comedian.
It was bad.
I mean, if you think about the joke, I mean, yeah, you can argue it was in good taste or it was in poor taste. I mean, making
worth a punch in the mouth.
Making fun of anyone's medical condition is usually in poor taste.
Yeah.
But have you ever watched those roasts where like Shaquille O'Neal just sits there and gets roast with Martha Stewart?
But they volunteer for that.
They do. But, if you're sitting in the front row at the Academy Awards, they're going to make jokes.
Well, as far as Chris Rock's jokes go, that was pretty tame.
Right? I thought it was very tame.
Very tame. Not a big deal. We could have just moved on, but the ramifications from this, I don't know. I just think nobody's talking about who won last night, the big moments, the moving moments. There were a lot of things I thought people were really, because like I said, I went to bed at 9, before all this happened. And I thought Regina Hall, when she was pulling all the men out of the audience for COVID testing, and then did a pat down search of Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa, basically grabbed Josh Brolin's penis. I mean, I'm sorry, she did. She was, and nobody's talking about that because I'm like, and I'm not, I'm a prude to some things, but I think people do get offended so easily. But I was really shocked they did that whole bit based on what we've been through with women saying we're not sexual objects, don't do this. And then it's okay for us to do it to you. You can't do it for us. I don't know. I thought that she was going to get a lot of heat for that, but not a peep because everybody's talking about what happened to Chris, what happened to Will. And then he goes out afterwards, Alan, and they're partying with the Oscar. He's getting jiggy with it. Jade is there. His whole family's there. They're all partying like nothing happened. I don't know.
You think if Mel Gibson had rolled up there and slapped him, do you think they would have pressed charges?
Oh, yeah. They would have hauled Mel out of there.
Yeah, they would have called the cops and hauled him out of there.
He has a history of, making people mad. But I was saying, if my husband did that for my honor, I would have been horrified. I would like to think that Jada was embarrassed by that. I mean, it's one thing for your man to stand up for you, but to do that, I was embarrassed. Tiffany Haddish said it was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen.
It's embarrassing.
So anyway, I just think it's awful.
Chris Rock was
condone it at all.
Chris Rock was doing his job. And again, you can argue whether or not you thought it was funny or not, but he was up there doing what he was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And somebody he made a joke about's husband snapped. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. But a lot of people are snapping these days. There's so much stress from the world and things going on in the world. So I guess he just that was the tipping point for him. But it's just interesting because he was laughing. And she rolled her
Yeah.
eyes. And then something happened in those 2 or 3 seconds when they cut camera away that had him get up out of his seat and
I
go to
know.
the stage.
It's really strange. It was when I first saw it, it was like, wow, I don't even really know how to react to this.
Yeah.
At first I thought it's maybe a bit, but if
Yeah.
you go back and look at how he hit him, I mean, he hit him.
Yeah, because when he was walking off the stage after he hit him, it almost looked like he was trying to hide a smile. But I guess I was misreading that. But I think it was.
And some of the
real.
conspiracy theorists say, well, look at Chris Rock's face right before he gets hit. He's almost grimacing like he knows he's going to.
Well, you can see everybody does that. If I do my hand at Alan's face too quick, sometimes he acts like I'm going to hit him. People do that.
Yeah.
That's not somebody that's prepared for like what's going to happen. I don't know. That's ridiculous.
Well, to be fair to Will Smith, he did issue a public apology on his social media just a few hours ago.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. He apologized to Chris Rock. He said, what I did was really wrong. Basically, I snapped. But yeah, go to his Instagram and you can see it.
I'll have to go look at that. But everybody we never know what's going on in somebody's mind, right? What they're dealing with. Maybe like Will said, we always got to laugh these things off and act like everything's fine. But who knows when he goes home with Jada at night, she might be bawling her eyes out over these alopecia jokes and stuff. So we don't know. But I do know this. Everybody at some point needs somebody to talk to. And that's why I love talking about our sponsor, BetterHelp. Our podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is online therapy, affordable therapy. Relationships take work, not just with other people. A lot of us do drop anything to go help someone we care about. We go out of our way to treat other people well. But how often do we give ourselves that same treatment? Do we ever give ourselves a break? Well, this month, BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to take care of your most important relationship, and that is the one you have with yourself, whether it's hitting the gym, making time for your haircut, even trying therapy. If you've never tried it before, this is the month to try it because you are your greatest asset. So invest the time, invest the effort into yourself, just like you do for other people. Both Alan and I are proponents of therapy. We've both been through therapy. We're not in therapy right now, but if I got to a point where I'm like, I need an outside perspective, I need somebody just to vent to emotionally vomit on for a while, I would absolutely seek therapy again because I really do think it's one of the best things you can do for yourself.
And BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. And it's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. So give it a try. See why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And our podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. And a sandwich and some Lovin listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sandwich. That's BetterHelp.com/sandwich.
All right. That's enough heavy stuff, right? I don't know that we need to rehash the Chris Rock, Will Smith situation anymore than we already have.
Everybody will forget it in a few days, but
we'll see. We'll see the fallout.
That was very, very strange.
It was. We'll see if his apology on Instagram is enough. We'll see. All right. You've got some listener emails you want to get to?
Man, we have got a lot of correspondence.
We have some other topics to get to, but when they stack up this big, we need to at least clear through a few of them.
I don't know that we're going to be able to get through all of this.
There's a lot. We have a lot of correspondence lately.
If you want to send us correspondence, you can do so at podcast@kellyandalan.com. You can go to our website, kellyandalan.com, and there's a form there. You can fill that out if you prefer to do it that way. Our world headquarters address is there at kellyandalan.com. You can send us gifts, money, checks, cookies, a bag of dicks.
Alan, why would you say that?
Somebody sent me a bag of dicks one time.
Who?
I don't know.
That's terrible.
She told me she was going to. It was a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I don't want a bag of that.
It wasn't an anonymous bag of dicks.
And I don't want cookies or anything right now.
Bag of dicks.
I'm back on Red Mountain. So we're no, I'm just saying I'm back on the program, as are you, and we're not asking for cookies right now.
Yeah, we're not. I haven't had a cookie in 3 weeks. This first letter is from Chelsea. Subject: things in holes.
Why'd you change your voice for that?
Hi, Alan and Kellie. Shortly after my husband and I had our second son, we decided that it was time for him to have a vasectomy.
Why didn't you change your voice for vasectomy?
That's a scientific word.
Holes is just a regular word.
Holes is lewd.
You didn't change your voice.
When used in the context Chelsea used it in. The day of his appointment, the lady called him back, put him in a room, and told him that the doctor would be in a minute. Over an hour later, the doctor comes in and apologizes for being so late. Apparently, he was called to the emergency room to get a fake fishing worm out of a man's, changes voice, pee-pee hole. I can only imagine it was kind of like trying to pull your finger out of a Chinese finger trap. If that wasn't enough, it was December, and when the doctor finally began working on my husband, the doc said, "Hey, Alexa, play Mariah Carey." "All I Want for Christmas Is You" began playing loudly as he worked on my husband downstairs. Needless to say, my husband can no longer listen to that song. Love y'all, Chelsea. See, I think Chelsea wrote that because on, was it the last podcast?
Couple of
podcasts ago, we talked about a woman in Tunisia who had a UTI.
With a shot glass up her vajayjay. Yeah, and I
tumbler.
said,
Yeah.
a tumbler, and I said that I know men have tried shoving stuff up their pee-pee holes before to maintain an erection. Maybe that's why he was doing that.
How in the hell would you... How can you maintain an erection with a fake fishing worm?
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was a lure instead of a rubbery thing. Maybe it was a harder one.
No, she said fake fishing worm.
And I don't know. I have no
Why
clue.
would you put a fake fishing worm in your urethra?
I have no idea. So I guess you're awake for that surgery. You had never had one, so I don't.
No.
Do you know how they work?
Oh, yeah. They make a little incision
in your scrotum, or
I think it's, well, I don't know, but I'm not a doctor, but I know from the guys I've talked to that have had it, they make a little incision down there. They pull the vas deferens out, and then
what?
Vas deferens.
Vas deferens?
Yeah.
Why is that a bad word?
I
thought it was a medical term, so you could say it.
I think it's the tube that
carries the sperm. We're all adults here, Alan.
Yeah. It's the tube that carries that.
Y'all can imagine how gray our sex life is when he can't even bring himself to say these words.
It's the tube that carries the stuff.
The sperm.
Yeah, they make an incision in said tube, and then they solder each side of that.
Okay. And you're awake for all that. Why don't they just give you like La La Land sleep?
I've talked to dudes who've done it, and they say that they're very, very sore afterwards.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Like, lots of ice.
That comes nothing close to what women have to put up with. Please. Y'all have to do one. Nothing.
I mean,
nothing.
Anybody squeeze a pumpkin out of vagina.
Right.
This next letter is this is a useful letter here. And this is one of those letters that, based on comments I've made in the past, I have to ask myself, well, were you being an asshole?
Oh, you're questioning yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. This letter is from Stacy. Subject: Kellie's ailments. Must read educational moment. Hi. It seems that Kellie's multiple ailments come up quite often. Her issues that I've heard mentioned do sound very familiar to mine. Similar to mine. Sorry. I have a connective tissue disorder called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
You're going to feel bad if I have that after all the fun you've made of me.
I know. If I've been making lists of your ailments, and if you have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome,
you're going to feel like crap.
Right. I'm going to be horrified. It took over a dozen specialists in 15 years before I was diagnosed. This does not come up in lab work because it is a genetic disorder that standard lab orders do not cover. I don't know what the other health issues Kellie has are, but there is a saying, when you cannot connect the issues, think connective tissues.
I've never heard that one, but I like it.
So her symptoms are dry eye, light sensitivity, fatigue, tonsillitis, bursitis, back pain, migraines, lots of...
Oh, hers are, not mine. Oh,
lots of gastrointestinal issues, blood pressure and blood sugar drops, and other dysotomia issues.
Where is the word? I can't, where are you at?
Dysautonomia issues.
I don't know where
All
you're
the
on the letter. I
nurses are
can't see it.
yelling at me right now. Caused by cervical spine instability. I'm not saying this is what's going on, but it's something Kellie should definitely take a look into if she's having multiple system problems along with repeated or extended tendonitis type pains. Huh.
I do have some tendonitis type pains, but I think that's from what we're understanding, it's from repetitive motions. So the best cure for that is to give it rest. So I'm trying, and then the doctor gave me a lot of stretching exercises to do for it as well.
Okay, we're going to do a little survey here and see if you have any of these. We need to do your Beighton score, Beighton.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. She says Google it. Do you have headaches or migraines?
I've only had, I think, 2 migraines my whole life, but I have had them. They were really, really bad. That's why I think that I may have had 2.
Do you have piezogenic papules around your heels?
I don't know what that means.
Do you have thin, translucent skin that shows veins?
My legs are so white, they're blue, but I don't think you see the veins. I think that's just the blood beneath my skin.
Do you have flat feet or arches that collapse upon standing?
No, I have high
instep. You have
instep.
real high instep.
High instep.
I don't know.
I don't think this is me.
I don't think you have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I think you just have a bunch of ailments.
I just have stuff going wrong.
Right.
Emma Kellie was listening to a song in the car on the way home from her archery practice tonight, and the bass was thumping so loud, it was making me nauseous. I said, Emma Kellie, we have to turn it down. This bass is making me nauseous. And she just thought that was the weirdest thing she ever heard. I said, I'm sorry, but it is. I think it's an inner ear thing. Because you know how you say I say when you crack the windows, it causes me tremendous pain.
Tremendous
it's horrible.
Pain. Tremendous pain.
Well, I've had listeners that agree with me on that. I think it's an inner ear thing for me. So I had to turn down the bass. I have to keep the bass low.
Mm-hmm. This next letter is from Marcus.
Add that to my list of ailments. Deep bass makes me nauseous.
We've done that.
You did bass makes me nauseous?
Yeah, we did. Last time we did your ailment. We'll do an ailment roundup.
No, nobody wants to hear all that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
No, I don't like it.
Well,
it hurts my feelings.
Our listeners do.
No, they don't. It hurts their feelings too.
This next letter is from Marcus. Subject, fan mail questions. Hi, Miss Rasberry. Or do you prefer Miss Evans if you're nasty?
That's funny.
I added
I love Janet Jackson.
I added it that if you're nasty.
Aw, I thought she was funny.
Well, it's Marcus.
Or he was funny. I didn't hear who sent it.
I'm just hoping that you can please let me know how to send you fan mail to you and hopefully get your autograph.
Oh, that's nice.
As well as Mr. Evans's autograph. Please let me know. I would appreciate it. Marcus, my man. Go to kellynallen.com, go to the contact section, and you'll see the address for world headquarters.
We maybe need to get some headshots done, babe. If people are going to start demanding our autographs.
Well, I think that's one letter for an autograph in the last 5 years.
We start somewhere. What are we going to send them?
We're
going to tear off a Post-it note and scribble our name on it?
We have our engagement photo. We have a bunch of signed engagement photos.
We've signed engagement photos?
Yeah, we signed a whole bunch of them.
We did?
Yeah, we haven't given any of them out. But...
That was our temporary headshot?
Yep. You want to do another letter?
Yeah.
Okay. This next letter is from Megan. Subject, love letters to Alan. I just listened to A Sandwich and Some Holy Spirit. I heard the last love letter to Alan and wanted to share my experience. My mom's dad left when she was 6 months. My mom is the middle of 3 children. My mom and her older sister desperately wanted to have contact with their dad and tried as an adult to find him and have a relationship or just even to talk to him. My mom found him when I was young, but he kept insisting he didn't know who she was and she had the wrong person. My cousin found a man on Facebook that had the same last name and looked like my mom's dad, so she sent him a message explaining who she was and who her mother was. The man said, yes, that man is my father. I had no idea he had another family. And she said, I would love to meet you. I have an older brother that I will bring with me. The 2 sons then confronted their father, and he then agreed to meet us. They drove from Arizona to meet everyone. I was 15 at the time. My mom, 39. She met her dad, stepmom, and 2 half-brothers that day, and we have a relationship with them ever since. My father passed a few years ago due to cancer, but we still regularly talk to her stepmom and her 2 half brothers. The father was too ashamed, I think, and wasn't ready to have that conversation with his current family. So contacting the son forced him to try the situation. I don't know if this would help the lady of the 14-year-old that wants to meet her dad, but I thought it was worth a try.
Yeah.
Love y'all's podcast, and I love the bickering. My
Thanks.
husband has the same personality as you. Gives me a hard time out of love. Ha ha ha. Best customer, Megan.
And I'm glad that worked out because, sometimes it doesn't have the positive outcome, where you force somebody's hand. And like at first he was deny, not me. But his sons, forced him into doing what they thought would be the right thing, was to meet her, which I agree was. So I'm just glad it worked out.
That worked out.
It doesn't always have that happy ending for people, Okay, a while back, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I fall victim to those ads. I love those ads. They are marketed to me. They listen to what you're saying, and I guess they must have heard me saying something about how tired I am all the time. Anyway, I started getting these ads for Thrive Cosmetics. Have y'all seen all the cute little Instagram influencers online where they have this brilliant eye brightener? This is the first thing that hooked me with Thrive Cosmetics. It's this cream to powder highlighter stick that brightens and opens up your eyes. It gives you an instant eye lift. So even if you only have time to do a couple of things in the morning, this brilliant eye brightener and some mascara that I'm about to tell you about, that's really about all you need, because you'll look like you had a full rested night's sleep, even though you're a mom on the go, you're tired, you don't have time for much else. And also, in addition to the bright one that I use, this comes in 13 shimmering shades. So you can go a little darker. You can really create a beautiful eye with that. And the second thing I loved about Thrive Cosmetics was their Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. This is their best-selling product. It's got more than 20,000 five-star reviews. This, when it says it's Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara, it mimics that. In fact, I used to have lash extensions, but I started developing an allergy to the glue that she used. I tried it 3 times in a row. It was just so irritating. I said, I need to give my eyes a break, but I missed that look. I was lying in bed with Emma Kellie watching Gilmore Girls. She looked over at me and she said, did you go back and get lash extensions? I said, no, it was my mascara. And she had no idea. So that's how I know this stuff really works. It's not damaging like lash extensions are. It has nourishing ingredients that support longer, stronger, healthier looking lashes over time, easily removed. You just need some warm water and a washcloth, no soap required. It's really great stuff. And if you want to give it a try, Thrive Cosmetics, let me tell you what they do. They also have, it's the Bigger Than Beauty. That's their logo, their trademark, because for every product you buy, Thrive Cosmetics donates to help women thrive. And these are women coming out of homelessness, surviving domestic abuse, fighting cancer, and so much more.
And now is a great time to try Thrive Cosmetics for yourself. And right now you can get 15% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/sandwich. That's Thrive Cosmetics. That's CAUSEMETICS.com/sandwich for 15% off your first order.
It's cosmetics because it's for a good cause. Get it?
I get it.
Yeah, we get it.
If you went to 100 people on the streets of Plano, Texas, USA, God's country, and asked them what a vast deference is, how many people would be able to define that?
I would think that you were saying vast difference. And I would say that would be a big inequality between two things, a huge difference. That's what I thought you were saying.
We say huge, vast deference.
I've never heard of that. I didn't know that was a part of the male anatomy.
You got to know your parts.
I don't know that we covered that at Florence Christian School. I think we kind of
They didn't cover the parts and everything?
We breezed over.
You didn't take health?
We took, well, we didn't have a sex ed course or anything like that. We did have a biology class, but I think we kind of breezed over the sexual reproduction organs.
Most giggling and leering and looking when you turn the page and there's a drawing of a...
We didn't do none of that at Florence Christian.
Takes me back to the 7th grade. This next letter is from Chase. Hey, Alan and Kellie.
Hey.
My wife and I have a 6-year-old lab named Luna. Side note, one of the best songs on the Smashing Pumpkins album Siamese Dream, the classic grunge album from 1993. The last song on the album is called Luna. It's a great song, and it was on your mix.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. The other day,
the mixtape Alan made for me after we've been dating like 4 weeks.
Yeah, look it up. The name of the song is Luna, Luna, by the Smashing Pumpkins. The other day, my wife was walking her, and she decided to run up to meet another dog, jerking my wife a little bit. We've always had trouble with her pulling on walks, especially when there's a lot going on, like a farmer's market or a new neighborhood. She loves smelling, and everything she does, she leads with her nose. Any tips or tricks on training an older dog to walk better on a leash? I could probably look this up, but I'd rather ask you. My other question is, I remember a while ago when y'all were on your honeymoon, y'all mentioned something about this service that gets you through the lines at the airport quickly. We're going to Secrets Resort in Cozumel. I was wondering if y'all knew of a service like that in Cozumel. Why don't you do that one and I'll do the dog one?
I don't know of a service like that in Cozumel. Sorry. The one we used was in Jamaica, and I think it's exclusive to Jamaica. I don't even remember the name of it. You remember the name of it? Not at the moment.
It's like their version of an Admiral's Club.
Yeah, but they meet you when you get off the plane.
But you gotta pay for it.
You have to pay for it, but not a lot. It's like $40 a person. It's not horrible.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Totally
because you go right by all the lines, and they take you straight up to the passport people and all that. They help you get your luggage and get to your car. But I only know of that in Jamaica. I'm sorry. I don't know of a service like that in Mexico. You just gotta pray that you hit it at the right time.
Yeah.
The last couple of times we've been to Mexico, though, the lines weren't, I mean, we got through fairly quickly, I would say. An hour max.
Yeah.
But the other one, I have a suggestion on that, because I know what your suggestion is on walking dog, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, Kelly's suggestion is an apparatus. I mean, some people use different types of chains or choke chains or, muzzles or whatever to teach a dog to heel. But I'm a big believer in Cesar Millan and what he teaches. And a lot of, walking a dog on a leash is making sure the dog sees you as the pack leader. And there's a lot to it, way more than we have time to talk about on the podcast. But it's kind of this routine of walk every day, feed, playtime. Walk every day, feed, playtime. And you do that every day. You got to walk your dog every day if you can. And if your dog's pulling while you're on a walk, immediately switch directions. Just keep walking. And you got to walk like you're in charge, okay?
You got to keep the leash tight and the dog right at your left side.
Yeah, keep him at your left side. And, if you let the dog sniff, then the dog sees, okay, I'm the leader because he's letting me sniff. He's letting me call the shots. And that's something I always tell Kelly. I'm like, let's let the dog sniff when we say it's time for them to sniff. If you let the dog sniff when he wants to sniff, then he's the leader.
Yeah, Alan lets him sniff like twice on a walk.
Yeah. And, people are like, well, they just live to sniff. And they do. They like to smell, and that's part of them being on a walk. But the walk, just the event, that's what's important. Just the fact that the pack is out walking, that's the reward.
Yeah, but I want him to have fun.
Well, yeah, and that's the natural reaction for people is, let him sniff. And okay, I get that, but then you need to be used to your dog pulling you around and wanting to sniff.
And that was aggravating for me because Zoey pulls so bad with the choke collar, and Cesar Millan teaches with a choke collar. That's how you get them, because they don't like that feeling. She didn't care, and I felt like I was hurting her. So I went to PetSmart, and I just was going up and down the aisles and said, there's got to be a better way. I tried a harness, the one that goes up under their chest, and she was still pulling. That was even worse.
A harness makes a dog pull even harder.
It was even worse.
Yeah.
And I found one that was like, guaranteed, won't make your dog not pull. She does. There is some tension there, but not nearly as bad as it was, where it was just, I hated taking the dogs for a walk. She made it miserable for me. But it's one that it's just like a thin strap that goes around her snout. And then there's like the leash goes under her chin and then hooks around the back of her head. Does that make sense? So there's a strap around her snout, and then it snaps around the back of her head. And that has been a game changer for me. And I just went to the aisle at PetSmart and just looked for guaranteed your dog will stop pulling. So she doesn't pull as much. She does try to pull, but I'll just kind of pop it back and say, Zoey, slow down. And she'll slow down. They don't like being pulled by the snout. The neck, with me, I could not get her. Alan is the leader of the pack. I'm a member of the pack. So they don't do as well with me.
Yeah,
so for an older dog, I think that muzzle thing might work. And she can still open her mouth. It's not like it's keeping her from opening her mouth. It's not like a bite prevention muzzle. It's just a strap that goes around her nose and chin, basically.
Yeah, Chase, I'm not a fan of those gimmicks that Kellie's talking about. So I would teach the dog the right way, and that's to
your wife's not gonna do that, and you know she's
and
not.
that's to follow you. Okay. And if the
your
dog
wife
is pulling and you want to go a different direction, then go a different direction. And the dog will eventually learn that, you know, he needs to follow you, or Luna needs to follow you.
Or get the thing.
Yeah. But it just
like me.
it takes a lot of practice. It really does. It's like with Zoey and Larry, it took a long time before they were kind of like, oh, okay, now I'm with the routine and I get it.
They walk very different with Alan than they do with me.
Yeah.
They walk right by Alan's side. They don't move.
But read Caesar's Way. It's one of the best books I've ever read, and just to read for fun, it's really interesting. He's got a lot of really great stories about how he grew up, really poor in Mexico, and how he started training dogs and his method. And I really believe in it. I think it's something that you have to think like a dog, and that's what's so interesting to me. A lot of people think that their dogs are people.
And they have human feelings.
The dog is a dog. He knows he's a dog too. He doesn't think he's a person. A lot of people say, oh, he thinks he's a person. He doesn't think he's a person. He's a dog. And
you're screwing them up when you treat them like people.
Yeah. Like another example you see a lot is when a dog is just going ape, like usually the little ones, right? And you walk by that dog, the owner will pick the dog up and like, it's okay. And the dog's like, and they're like, it's okay, giving him praise. They don't realize that what they're doing is they're praising the dog to be even louder.
So how do you stop the yapping?
That takes training. You got to put the dog on the leash and train that dog to walk by people, walk by other dogs, and not react.
What about when they come in your house? What about if a guest comes to your house and the dog barks at the guest? You have to put them on a leash for that?
Oh, well.
Is that in Caesar's book?
Yeah, it is. You can teach a dog to not run to the door. Our dogs are not trained to do that. But you can train a dog to just sit on the couch when somebody comes to the door. It just takes a lot of work. It really does.
And you don't want to do that. Y'all know y'all don't want to do that.
Some people do. And, I think it's kind of fun. Our dogs they're not like I can just give them a command and they'll do anything.
Right.
But they're pretty well behaved. Those dogs are pretty well behaved. All right, Chase. Well, thanks. And there's a picture of sweet Luna.
Very, very sweet.
Babe, we've got a lot of correspondence, but I think we need to yogurt.
For a very good reason.
Because I got to get to Cole's baseball game.
Yeah. Our son has a
late game tonight.
And you need to get out the door if you're going to catch it.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap things up a little early for this episode of the podcast. We wanted to start recording earlier, but Emma Kelly's archery lesson or practice ran late, and just a snowball effect. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But hopefully y'all got something good out of the podcast.
Talked about a little bit of everything.
We covered, it was a smorgasbord.
Will Smith waving his pimp hand strong.
It was like a charcuterie podcast.
A vast deference.
A little cheese, little olives, little meat.
A little vasectomy.
A little vast
deference. I think you said scrotum.
We covered a lot of bases. Covered a lot. As I hope our son Cole covers all the bases tonight in his baseball
game. Training.
Mm-hmm.
He said, just real quick, well, I don't think our listeners will understand what I'm saying, but if you look at any of the old timey pitchers, they wind up and then they wind up again in pitch. It's like a double wind up. It's like really old school from like the 40s. Cole does that on his first pitch, and he does that. It's like a signal to me, like he's doing a bit.
Oh, that's cute.
So now Cole is doing bits during his game.
Oh,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah. We'll see what his coach has to say about it.
Yeah. All right, babe. Well, I love you desperately.
I love you.
Love our listeners desperately.
Love y'all.
I love my intact vas deference desperately.
Me too.
And I am sure we
I'm
will.
going to try to find it later. I have no idea where it is.
Find it later.
I have no idea where it is.
If you kind of get
I'll
up,
find it later.
if you kind of get
I'll
up,
find it later.
It feels-
It's okay. All right.
it feels
Say
like
goodbye.
a piece of hard spaghetti.
All right. Goodbye.
And in the immortal words of the great Keanu Reeves, life is good when you have a good sandwich. Bye.
All right. Alan's going to have to run because the game like literally is starting right now. So go.
All right. You want me to shut this down?
Yeah, because I don't know how to shut it down. Sorry, we can't hang out. We'll be back Wednesday.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We got to go so fast, but yeah, I gotta run. It's in McKinney too, so it's gonna take me about 20 minutes to get there. Okay, guys. Sorry. Usually we like to hang out and chat a little bit, but we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.